Thank you for double-clicking your mouse tonight. You're listening to the Midnight FrightCast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Midnight FrightCast.
You want to try that again?
Fuck no, let's just keep going. Episode number 50. Number 50. Calling in from Omaha is the Doctor of Filmonomics, Greg the Movie Guy.
I was told not to cough or to take my ear pod out when I cough, so... Hi.
Cool. Sitting across the table from me is the Scream Queen herself, Maddie.
Were you coughing or choking on a dick? Like, what was that? What was that noise?
I do not wish to comment.
Oh my god. Now I want to start over. And to my right, as always, the Doctor of Everything Else, Patrick.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
So yeah, let's just jump right in. We watched the trailer. We watched the trailer for a movie called Ma. That's just it, Ma.
Ma.
Who wants to start?
Well, I've seen it before we watched it prior to this. I think we all saw it, except for Greg. Was that the first time you saw that trailer?
This was my first viewing of Ma.
Okay, excellent. So,
would you like my thoughts on Ma?
Sure.
Okay. I really was kind of surprised to see Octavia Spencer in there as an Oscar-nominated actress. It's interesting to see her swing over to a wildly different genre, but not so surprising because, as I'm saying, that I did remember she was supporting in Shape of Water, which is kind of not really I don't know what you'd call it. It's a little out there genre, maybe. Josh, help me here.
Bestiality.
Yeah, it's bestiality. It's sci-fi horror.
Yep.
Sci-fi horror. So.
Yeah, sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So seeing her in this role was very intriguing. I'm excited to actually kind of go and check this out. The movie itself felt a little gimmicky for me, but I'm not totally upset by that. It looked like it was an interesting enough premise to jump in and give it a watch. So yes, I will definitely be checking this one out, I think.
I'm kind of excited about it because here's the feel I got. Like, tell me you didn't look at that and go, that movie could have been directed by Kevin Smith. Because it had a very Red State feel to it.
I loved how, because I loved how it started out as almost, hey, this is going to be a comedy, and then it slowly drifted into that, like you said, the Red State feel.
Yeah.
It's really turned.
But yeah, I agree with Greg. It's really cool to see Octavia Spencer in there as an Academy Award winning actress who does not have to take this kind of role. She could probably do anything as that she wants to, and it's cool to see her step out and do something that is not in her normal wheelhouse.
Well, and this could be something, like you say, stepping out and doing something different. Maybe this is something she really has wanted to do, but not found the right venue for that.
Yeah,
I've seen her in a couple other movies, and I've absolutely loved her. So when you shared this trailer, I was like, what are you doing? I know you don't have bills to pay right now.
Right,
but I haven't seen this premise before, this storyline before. But yeah, there was something a little gimmicky about the trailer. I'm not going to run out and see it, but I will catch this movie eventually. It's not going to go into that really... I can tell already it's not going to go into that really dark place that I like my horror movies to go.
It's going to go super dark.
I agree with Josh. I felt like there was a lot of different situations in there where it could go... like. They showed the spot in there where she drove off and hit the person with the car.
Right.
That's a pretty dark scene right there. So I think
we've all thought about doing that, though. It's not that.
Or sewing through somebody's lips, or
right.
I mean, there was a number of really disturbing things just within the trailer.
I mean,
itself.
It's not going to get like Martyrs dark, and
right.
shit. But I mean, but yeah, it's definitely like it left it open for some dark shit to show up in that movie if it wanted to.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love Octavia Spencer. It's been great to watch her grow from, like the first thing I saw her on was some MTV comedy where she played some cracked out woman in a halfway house.
So she's kind of come full circle.
Well, yeah, but just to watch her grow and then, seeing her in Hidden Figures, The Help. She's just an amazing actress that I think with this character, she could probably raise it to the level of Kathy Bates in Misery.
Yeah.
Because it kind of has that feel to it, This is one that it will probably be a Tuesday movie for me or an early morning one, all depending. I don't know that I'll see it right when it comes out, but I will definitely hit it in the theater.
Yeah, I'll definitely check this one out. Did it give a release date? I didn't catch it.
It just said May.
May 31st.
May 31st?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be cool. We have some really good horror films coming out in the next couple of months because I know Us comes out, I think, in March. So the horror is coming over the next few months. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Anything else, guys, on that trailer?
I think it looks good.
Okay, cool. We'll probably drop we'll drop that trailer on the Midnight Frightcast Facebook page. I think we did that last week when we watched the last trailer, so we should keep doing that. So everybody can go to the Midnight Frightcast page and check out that trailer. But yeah, let's talk about news. Let's talk about some news. Who brought news?
Greg.
Anybody have news?
Craig, do we have news?
I think we have news.
We do. And
It's the news.
That did not make it into my favorite of the
favorite of the Frightcast.
Oh, that did not make it.
Really?
I wish I was Helen Keller.
Who wants to start with news?
I can go ahead. I've got a couple. The first one is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark released their little teaser trailers.
Yeah.
And they look awesome. I was so afraid they were going to do some Goosebumps ass shit with this movie, but would kind of have been crap because their like audience is like my age and older.
Yeah.
That's what we grew up on. So I was like, please do not make this some like kiddie movie. No, the trailers look creepy and they captured some of those characters perfectly. And I'm super stoked for those. And then my second one is Aquaman is getting a horror movie spinoff.
I saw that.
Is that a for real thing?
That's
yeah,
a
no,
for
that's
real
a thing.
Interesting.
It's going to be called The Trench. Although it was kind of weird. There was a little article about it on Rotten Tomatoes, and they just kind of really briefly touched on it. It said none of the main characters from Aquaman are going to be there. So I was like, so is this actually an Aquaman movie? Or...
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline for it, and I'm going, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and they didn't... I don't recall them saying who the directors were, but they said it was two newbies. So it kind of sounded like it was going to be more of like a bad guys movie, almost like Suicide Squad, which I was like, well, good job, because that was such a fantastic fucking movie.
Yeah, right.
More like an anti-hero type thing. As
Maybe that's what it was going for. It didn't, as I said, didn't really get super, super into it. But yeah, we have that lovely thing.
I want to go back to your first news story because did the imagery in the trailer scare you as much as, or I guess affect you as much as the imagery from the books when you were a kid?
Since I was like 5 when I read those books as a child, yeah, they freaked me out a little bit.
Maddie's a little younger than the rest of us.
But I remember there was a couple parts in the books that kind of creeped me out. This is that I read them when I was like between 5 and 8.
Yeah.
So, but I remember my favorite one was Harold. And I'm really happy that he was on the teaser trailer. But like they did an amazing job taking the images from the books to the movies. Like the couple like creature things that they showed like were perfect.
Gotcha.
I could not be happier.
Cool.
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Patrick, you want to go?
Yeah, I've got 3, but I'm going to hold off on the third one because I think someone else might have it. So from Bloody Disgusting, I saw Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio are producing an H.H. Holmes TV series for Hulu. And it's going to be called The Devil in the White City, based on an Eric Larson book by a very similar name, Devil in the White City, Magic and Madness at the Fair That Changed America. And it was originally going to be a movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
I wonder why they changed that. I wonder
to a series?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Because that's a thing now.
Yeah.
I wonder if they can get more out of it in a series as opposed to just like a movie where they get, 2 hours. They can stretch that out and do it episodic, I guess.
Yeah, there's no timeline announced for it yet, however. And then from Dread Central, I saw, Jason Blum has said that he wants to produce at least 10 more Halloween movies.
We've
seen that.
Fucking ridiculous.
Okay, I know it is, but this is but Josh, you may get your wish because they are having trouble getting the rights for it.
Yeah. But who would hold the rights to that? John Carpenter, I'm guessing, does not have that anymore.
I guess not. It didn't. In the article that I read, they had no information about who currently holds the rights or why it's being so difficult for them to get it. But they said it's moving forward extremely slowly.
Yeah. Well, you'd think with John Carpenter on their side, they would have a little bit easier access to
Maybe the
rights.
person who has the rights was pissed about the last one and was like, no, you'll take these out of my cold, dead hands.
And very well could be, yeah.
With their timeline, 40 years later, what more can they do? Because you saw he aged. I mean, he's getting old.
Yep.
So, I mean, how much are they going to have Michael Myers chase you on a fucking rocker? I mean, what are they going to do anymore?
Comes like down the street.
So
You get to see him at a hardware store buying some tennis balls to put at the bottom of the thing to scoot forward nice and smoothly.
So I just don't know what else they can possibly do with the Michael Myers story. They've done what they can. It was a cool 40 years. They're not hurting for ideas. They got some stuff.
You know, it's been 10 years, I think 10 years since the last Friday the 13th movie, hasn't it? Aren't we like due for one of those over a Halloween movie? Come on.
Yeah, but even that, we're good.
Yeah,
So,
we're good on all of it. Just stop.
if they could throw
something new,
if they could do a Freddy versus Jason versus Michael versus Leatherface kind of movie, I might be down for that.
I'm still waiting for my Freddy and Jason versus Pinhead movie.
That would be kind of cool too.
That would be amazing.
So,
Yeah, I've got a third one, but I think someone else may have it,
All right,
so
Greg-
I'll let somebody else talk.
Greg, you want to
about
go?
So back over to Bloody Disgusting, I caught an article that says the following. Not only is the movie coming out, but Nickelodeon is reviving the Are You Afraid of the Dark TV series, which is quite exciting given everything that they're reviving. I'm intrigued to see what they come out with as far as this, because this was one of my favorite shows on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. It's just something to keep of interest. So Are You Afraid of the Dark coming back as a movie and as a TV series.
Yeah, I really liked that TV series actually when I was a kid. So that'll be cool. Yeah, so you might have had it. So let's talk about Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses Broadway musical.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I had written down.
So Rob Zombie stated it did admit in the article that it was from a 2013 interview, but Rob Zombie talked about the one thing that he has not done that he'd like to tackle is Broadway. And he thinks House of a Thousand Corpses would play really well on Broadway. It played like an Addams Family or a Spider-Man or a Spamalot. I can see I can see Rob Zombie doing like more of a rock opera with the House of a Thousand Corpses, because fuck the dialogue, just sing some Rob Zombie shit. And I think House of a Thousand Corpses would play really. I would go see that show on Broadway. I don't know if there's a huge crowd for it, but I would definitely hunt that shit down and try to find it.
I think it'd be more like off Broadway would be more successful than Broadway. But
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like his concerts are very theatrical anyway, so I could see him pulling it off very well. But yeah, that's a thing.
But yeah, so that was from back in 2013. But it just kind of, with 3 from Hell coming out, something re-sparked that conversation.
it did, because I mean, numerous websites picked up this story.
Yeah.
Somebody's interested in this frickin' thing, or maybe they want it to happen, and more than I do anyway.
More than you do?
Yeah.
Would you not
They're
go
trying
see
to
Rob
attract
Zombie's
the
House of a Thousand Corpses?
Just out of the sheer shits and giggles of curiosity, I'd go check it out, because I mean, like, they made Evil Dead into a musical.
Yeah.
Which is really a fucking good musical.
Plays really well,
Yeah. You know, so there's been other things. Carrie was made into a musical. Horribly, first of all, but then they revised it and made it into a halfway decent musical. So, I mean, it can transfer over.
Yeah.
And then there's people who can handle the horror aspect, the blood aspect, and everything else really well. I mean, if he teamed up with like Teller from Penn and Teller, he has directed like the bloodiest Macbeth on stage. I mean, if they team up with someone like that and just make it, you know, tons of blood and everything else, then
Can you imagine
that might work.
Can you imagine the set transitions and shit like that on that show? It'd be crazy. But
You need a Zamboni just to clean up all the blood.
that's true. They would hand out like little raincoats and shit to the front.
yeah,
First,
yeah.
few
The
rows.
first 6 rows is the splash zone.
Splash zone.
Yeah,
Be like a Guar concert.
that'd be awesome.
Oh, God.
So yeah, that's the news. Patrick and Greg, you take us out of the news.
It's the news.
Okay, now that we've gotten through that, let's go to our next topic. Let's talk about what we've been watching. I have something that I watched recently, so I'll start with what you've been watching. Last night, there's a movie on Shudder called Horror Noir, A History of Black Horror. Have you seen that, Maddie?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay.
I just saw a bunch of stuff for it.
It is really fucking good. It's a documentary. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, so it goes real quick. And it covers, like, all the decades. It starts with, like, A Birth of a Nation, and how African Americans were portrayed by white people in blackface and stuff. And it goes through blaxploitation. It goes through kind of the joke of, like, how they play kind of like who's going to die first, like how African American actors always die within the first 30 minutes of a horror film. Through the 90s,
the stereotype of them.
Yeah. Through the 90s with Candyman, and then it goes through all the way through Jordan Peele's history making Oscar win with Get Out. So it covers a huge span of time with a bunch of different filmmakers and actors. Tony Todd's in there. Jordan Peele shows up. It's really, really good. It's such a quick, easy watch. An hour and 20 minutes. It's on Shudder. Everybody should go check that out. It's really, really good. So there's that. And then I watched a movie on Netflix called He's Out There. The Strangers started some shit because there have been found footage films that have come out that are not found footage, home invasion films that have come out, like Hush, that we've like enjoyed, like Hush. And there's just been some dog shitty ones too. And He's Out There kind of fits in that shitty box.
It's like the cat box of horror.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted it to be really good, and it sounded really interesting. And it plays really slow, and it takes forever for something to happen. And there's two children in it. They're two little girls that one of them is just like, you just wish that one would die. But the lady that plays the mom is a pretty strong character. I'm a really good actor. She was good, but the antagonist wasn't interesting. He was really boring. I would stray away from He's Out There because nobody should care. That was the one I did just could not get into. I was bummed on it. So that's what I watched. Greg, what have you been watching?
Last Thursday, Emily and I thought it'd be fun to try and go out and celebrate the stupidest holiday of the year. And when we realized that everybody else celebrates the stupidest holiday of the year, we couldn't get any dinner reservations, so we ended up going and seeing a movie. We went and saw the sequel to the Lego Movie, Lego Movie 2, the second part.
How was that?
Interesting. They added music to it, like musical music.
What the fuck?
Which was weird.
Well, everything is awesome is in the Lego Movie. That's a musical moment.
But that wasn't like a stop the story and sing this part type situation. It was kind of more soundtrack, where this was literally stop the story. We need to sing a song, continue the story. So that was a little rough for myself anyways. And I really felt like it was flat compared to its predecessor. With sequels, it's tough to, especially with one like the Lego Movie, which was such a freaking hit. It's tough to get lightning to strike twice. And I think that may have what happened with Lego 2. And I've got a post coming out here shortly on GregTheMovieGuy.com where you can read a little bit more about that. But it was funny. There were some definite funny parts, but definitely did not hold a torch to the first one. So went and saw that, and then I recently just wrapped up all 7 seasons of Game of Thrones. I am caught up. Yay. I am fucking ready for April.
I want to watch Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, dude, it is so awesome.
I just don't have access to it. So, Maddie,
I've been watching some true crime documentaries lately. I don't know why. One of them I watched, both of these were on Netflix, I think. Yeah, one of them was Into Thin Air. I don't really recommend that one. It's really boring, and by the time they kind of like get around to what they're doing, you don't give a fuck anymore. You're just like, you just don't care. And then I watched Abducted in Plain Sight.
Yes.
Which showcases the stupidest people that I've ever seen in my life. Like, literally the entire thing. Like, you don't feel bad for anyone because literally everyone in that entire documentary has the IQ of a rock. And just the shit that the parents let go on. Yep. But I think what I was more disgusted with, this is about a pedophile, was the fact that everyone knew this jackass was a pedophile and just was like, acted like this was okay. Like, his brother knew he was a pedophile. If my brother got in trouble for, like, touching a 12-year-old, I light him on fire in my parents' garage. Like, what the fuck? Just just, I don't know. It totally kind of like showed how shitty our justice system is when it comes to these assholes. It showed how no one cares if you're running around like touching 5-year-olds and stuff. It's just the most bizarre, and my blood pressure went way up watching this movie. I was just like, I have to go to bed. Like, there was a point, I think about 30 minutes before the end, when I was like, I have to see how much longer is in this movie because I can't watch these people be fucking stupid anymore. Yeah. It's really frustrating. I don't even know if I'd like suggest that anyone watches it because it's a frustrating fucking show.
Yeah, my wife wanted to watch that movie, so we sat down and watched it. I admit I dozed off a handful of times. What I did see, like 100% agree, like every single person in that documentary is guilty. Every single one of them, from the parents to the guy that was being fucking gross.
To his family. And then like there's other people that were like, oh yeah, he was touching on my 12-year-old daughter, but we just, told him not to come around anymore. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you not killing that person?
Yeah,
exactly.
I was just like, excuse me, no, someone touches on your daughter, like, and especially this was back in the...
fucking hold me back.
Yeah, it's like, this is the 70s where it was actually kind of acceptable to just shoot someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just totally blew my mind that everyone just let this guy, like, get away with it. Yeah, it was really kind of maddening, but yeah, you see the same thing nowadays too, where everyone's just like, oh, I knew there was something wrong with that motherfucker, but we just thought it was just, Weird Tommy. Like, I don't fucking know.
Weird Tommy.
Yeah, he's no longer on this show.
Josh, write that down. That's a title for one of our shorts.
Weird Tommy.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Cool. If you're on blood pressure medicine, don't watch that show. Yeah, don't watch that fucking show.
Wow.
Patrick.
Yes. I've been watching a couple of Netflix series. One that just started up is Umbrella Academy.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And it's a 10-episode show based on the comic book series by the My Chemical Romance frontman, Gerard Way. The comics are really, really cool, and I was waiting to see how they transferred into the series, and they do a really, really good job. I'm only a couple episodes in, but I'm really, really digging it. It's got Robert Sheehan in it and Ellen Page, so it's got it's got name cred to it, and the effects in it are really good. I'm just looking forward to seeing what the other 8 episodes are like.
Cool.
And then the other series that I was watching is called Russian Doll.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys have seen ads for that one.
But...
Yeah, Natasha Lyonne stars. It's a comedy drama, kind of like a Groundhog Day type thing, where she attends her own birthday party and then does a bunch of crap, where she attends her own birthday party, then does some other things, and by the end of the evening ends up dying, and then she starts off in the very same place the next day. But it's more dark. It's like really dark Groundhog Day.
Wait, she attends her own birthday party?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What?
That just sounds like, don't you normally show up to your own birthday party?
No,
I try not to.
Someone threw a party for her. That's where she is at the beginning of each episode. She's at her own birthday party.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just the way you worded it. I was like, do you not normally show up to your own birthday party?
I don't want to go to my own party. Yeah. Screw it.
I mean, I try really hard to do that, but I just didn't know it was an option.
I guess that does sound kind of weird the way I put it. But yeah, that's what happened, You
get the fucking point.
Sorry.
Yeah, it just, the same thing as Groundhog Day. Little things change here and there, but still, it's a good one to watch.
Is it kind of like Happy Death Day a little bit too? It sounds a little bit like Happy Death Day.
because I kind of put Happy Death Day in with Groundhog Day, because to me, Groundhog Day was what started all this reboot type thing. So
cool.
And I do want to see Happy Death Day
to you.
To
Yeah, I need to see Happy Death Day. Still,
you have not seen it yet.
I own it, and I haven't watched that fucking movie. Okay. So I know I suck. I have a lot to
just know it's not great, but it's fun.
Yeah, no, I just assumed out of the gate it wasn't going to be great. So I wanted to do this thing for our topic tonight because we're on episode 50, and I feel like we've covered a lot. We've changed a lot from the beginning of the Midnight Frightcast. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to cover some like favorite episodes, favorite topics, some things that you like that we've added, some things that we've just done differently. Just kind of is retrospective the right word? I used that word earlier, and I don't even know if I'm using it right.
Yeah, but it's a retrospect,
cool. Yeah. Of the Midnight Frightcast. So I don't know if anybody, do you just want me to kind of kick it off? So, or does anybody have some ideas? Or I've written down a couple
I wrote down 5.
So
I will say that there's one thing that really hasn't changed since we started, is that we've not really matured all that much in the 2 years that we've been doing this.
matured in what way?
I mean, like, we still laugh at fart jokes and stuff like that.
I mean,
the show itself has matured a lot, but our personalities.
Yes,
No.
I would agree with that, because yeah. I mean, the show's gotten better. It's gotten more professional, everything like that. But, Greg still sucks a bag of dicks.
yeah. I mean, clearly, when we came into the episode, that whole...
You only say that because I'm not there in the room with you.
But yeah, does anybody want to start, or does anybody care to start? Or Maddie, do you want to start?
Sure. As I said, I wrote down 5 episodes that I really enjoyed, and I mostly wrote down movies that we talked about, like 5 of the movies that I really enjoyed that we talked
Does anybody
about.
know? Sorry to interrupt, Maddie. Does anybody know what episode Maddie came in on?
Why, I can look it up really quick.
Okay, I'm just curious if anybody knows what episode Maddie joined
The race is on.
the cast on.
I know we reviewed High Tension.
That was the one
I think
that
so.
was your first cast here.
I think so.
Does that not count? Was that
Because the episode is High Tension and new co-host.
okay? So that was not her audition.
That was
right?
episode.
That was,
Her audition never aired because we talked about a movie that you kind of pissed on the entire time.
what movie was that?
No,
Anybody remember?
it was
we
Halloween.
talked about the original Halloween.
The original Halloween.
I didn't piss on the original.
Kind of.
Halloween.
You said that you didn't like that. You didn't
The
much
original
care, that you
Halloween?
didn't much care for it. Yeah.
No,
I
there's
said
no,
I didn't
yeah.
really like
was
the
that you?
There's
original.
no
Yeah.
fucking way I said that.
Oh.
I
okay.
said I didn't really like the original Halloween. I did not piss on it, but I just said, it's not my favorite.
All right.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just curious what episode Maddie joined in. So I'm sorry.
Episode number 36, roughly 6 months ago.
So Maddie's been with us for 13 episodes. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Go ahead, Maddie.
One of my favorites recently that we reviewed was Mandy, and even though I hated that movie, I feel like Patrick normally picks good shit, so it was kind of fun
Oh,
to
wow. So I let you down.
dogpile on him for an episode. I don't know. I just thought
So
it was.
you love it for the fact that I failed.
Yeah, a
on
little
it.
bit.
That's awesome.
I don't know. It's just we all hated the movie except for you, Patrick, and I don't know. I feel like our best discussions come from when like half the group like doesn't like the movie and the other half like does like it. So I like those episodes where we don't fucking agree on it.
The most interesting things come out of conflict.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes those podcasts some of the best ones.
Yeah.
And there's times where we've all agreed on it, and then we sit there and we talk about it, and then we go, oh, we still have 10 minutes to burn on the podcast. But when we have something that we can really discuss, and we have those differing point of views, that's when I have to go in and edit out about 12 minutes worth of stuff to try to keep it around an hour or so.
Yeah.
So I do like those, like when we did Revenge,
Yeah.
and we all shit on Greg for that one.
Yeah. I don't know.
that was fun.
I don't know if we shit on Greg or Greg just like fired shit at everybody
Yeah.
in that episode.
That's fine. Yeah, that was one of my favorites recently.
Do we want to roundtable this, or do you
Yeah,
just
so
want
we'll
to go through?
just-
We can roundtable, or we
That's
can
cool.
just, yeah.
That's one of my other favorite things is we still haven't decided whether
We
or not
still
we're going to
haven't.
fucking
It's like,
roundtable
what are
or
we
just
gonna do?
go through your goddamn
And that
list.
should just be like the default.
Yeah.
That should just be the
Is this-
default
is from-
and no more questions.
From 50 on, it's just we're roundtabling.
yeah,
No
and
more
then-
questions.
And you know what's going to happen
On
in
the-
51?
On the flip
Are we
side,
roundtabling? Or?
good lord. On the flip side of what we've enjoyed for the past 50 episodes, I've got a list of things that I really think we should change from 50 on,
Oh, no.
and that's being way more organized.
We say that, though, every episode we're going to come up. We're
do.
going to be
We really
organized
do.
this time.
Organized.
And it was
We've
like,
got a fucking spreadsheet, man. Like
Yeah.
we are.
Well, we got
true.
this. We got the schedule a little more organized, and we know what order we're going to go in. But
It's in cast that we kind of fumble around.
yeah.
I enjoy the organized chaos or the disorganized chaos of the podcast because it feels a little bit more
Organic.
yes, and not just so planned and shit. And I don't plan anything in my life, so why sit down?
Why
and plan
start
this?
now?
Yeah.
Why
Sure.
start now?
So go ahead, Patrick.
When we started doing the 31 Days of Horror, I really liked that addition to the podcast for multiple reasons. That it gave us the opportunity to, one, see a lot of horror that I'd never seen before in my life, and two, to be able to suggest it to the other people here or even bring it to the table as one that we could review later on. That's where we got a couple episodes from the last 31 Days of Horror ended up being on our podcast list.
Yeah, Cool.
So I dig that. I really like our Prairie Lights Film Festival episodes, and I don't mean to be taking them from you guys.
No. Take away,
because I see you scratching it off, and Greg's having a fit over there. But we could talk about it more, and you guys can talk about what you think is awesome about it. But for me, it's sitting down with other filmmakers, getting their take on everything when it comes to what we're doing. And maybe it's not so interesting for our listeners because they're going like, oh, I don't know who these people are. I could give a shit.
Yeah.
But for me personally, it's just really cool sitting down and talking to those other filmmakers and getting their input, their thoughts, especially on the local scene.
Yeah. So the Prairie Lights thing, like, you know, that's the one time a year that we do a podcast and we don't cover just horror. And the focus isn't horror. It's Nebraska filmmaking and indie filmmaking. And it's just an excuse to sit down with our friends for 3 days and talk shop and, you know, how they made their film. And, so yeah, I 100% agree. Like, the Prairie Lights podcast is like easily one of my favorite additions to this podcast. But one of my favorite episodes, and an episode that I would recommend everybody go check out, was the episode. It was when we still had Tom on here, and we covered our Mount Rushmore of horror. And I think that actually ended up in Maddie's audition too. Was we had her do that as well. But yeah, I thought that was a super fun episode where we all kind of went around and did, like, you know, who would end up on our Mount Rushmore. We all pretty much kind of came to an agreement as far as like picking our final four kind of thing. But yeah, I thought that episode was fun. And it said Tom was still around when we were doing that. And really quick too, before we move on with any more looking back, I do want to talk about really quick that there was an original kind of, there's an original Midnight Frightcast.
Yeah.
We did 35 or 36 episodes. And it was myself and Tyler Schmidt, and our buddy Dale Schumacher was on there, and Schweitzer was on there, and we did 35, 36 episodes of the Midnight Frightcast. So really, if you combine them, we're around 85, 86 episodes of the Midnight Frightcast. And then we just stopped kind of doing it. And we've had Tyler on. He was on one of our episodes.
Well, we stopped doing it.
back.
We stopped doing it for a little while, and we were doing Greg the Movie Guy
We did that for a little bit, yeah.
podcast, doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because we still wanted to get together. We still wanted to talk movies. We still wanted to talk shop and stuff like that. So, but it is, you know, one of my goals, and Josh, you know, you were the one who brought it to me, was getting those original 30-some and posting them as bonus material on the website.
Finding them.
It's just finding them because we were only able to find like 10 of them.
Yeah.
So we're still digging around for those, but I'd like to get those posted up at some point just as bonus material.
If you sit there and listen to the original Midnight Frightcast with Tyler and I, it's usually just Tyler, like, he's a couple drinks in and he's just angry, but like it was a ton of fun, and we had a really a good time just starting off doing those podcasts. And again, it was just an excuse to get together with friends and talk shop.
Right.
And that was the whole point of starting the Midnight Frightcast in the first place. But yeah, I just wanted to point out really quick because I didn't want to skip on Tyler, because Tyler was a big part of not only the Midnight Frightcast, but we started Midnight Fright Films too. So anyway, Greg.
No, just kind of coattailing there on Patrick's a little bit. The Prairie Lights cast is probably one of my favorite things that we do. And just for that simple reason, we get together with a bunch of different people. We get to get a whole lot of different perspectives on the actual production side of the films. You know, it's fun to get together with you guys and hash and thrash and go through different films that have been made by people we have no idea who they are. But it's a completely different experience to get to understand or listen to the people who are in our own backyard and making these films. And we get to do that on the Prairie Lights cast. And you go back and you listen to some of the episodes that we've done at Prairie Lights, and I'm typically just kind of sitting there in silence. And that's not because I don't have anything to say. It's just because I'm so fascinated in listening to the guests that we're able to pull in and listening to their production stories and just kind of understanding their process and the whole production side of it. And that's just one of my personal favorites that we do here, that we've done. And then the 31 Days of Horror, while it is a gigantic pain in the ass, and we are all like ready to be done with movies come October like 20th, it's fun to really get out there, and you get to pick and choose those movies that you're like, oh, I'll check that out at some point. Well, you need 31 horror movies to watch. Now would be a great time to go back and find those movies that you said you wanted to see, because you got a way to be able to do that. And like you said, we've pulled a lot of really good movie reviews from those 31 Days of Horror. And I know this last one that I did, I tried to focus all movies that I had not seen or the more legendary type horror films that I had never seen and focused my energies on those. And I got to see some fantastic horror movies this year. So definitely the 31 Days of Horror is one of my other favorite things that we do throughout the year.
We need to start a rule, though, on that 31 Days of Horror, because...
Don't look at me.
No. Because we need to go to 31 days of horror, not watch 10 movies in 5 days, skip 10 days, and then go and catch up for those other days. Hold on. Greg, the movie guy, I'm talking to you. Because Greg will watch like 10 movies in like 4 days and then go.
I'm guilty of that as well, because there are times when I know there's going to be like 4 days in a row I won't be able to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Especially because Prairie Lights falls right in the middle of that.
Yes,
you guarantee you're going to watch movies, but chances are they're not going to be horror. So it's a time constraint. You know, we're all older, we're adults, we got things we got to do. So if you got the time to crank out 5 or 6 movies, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah,
I got you.
I thought you were going to say, don't you dare watch fucking 31 Shorts.
No. That was nobody had done that.
If you want to cheat, that's okay with us.
The thing is nobody had done that before, though.
That's exactly right.
Maddie brought that to the table.
She brought it to the table, and we're going like,
a shit ton of Crypt TV. It was like, it's 31 shorts.
I guess
counts.
There's no reason to say no.
Yeah, so we're the dumbasses that just hadn't thought of that before.
Exactly. It's like, what? I can watch a 15-minute movie and be okay with it?
Yeah. So
well, fuck. Yeah.
Maddie.
One of them that I just recently listened to, actually in preparation for one coming up, is before I joined the cast, it was your guys' review of the It Chapter 1.
Okay, cool.
And I had gone back and listened to that.
Okay, Greg, what the hell are you doing?
My bad.
That's worse than coughing.
That is. What the? Oh, ice. Okay.
But I had gone back and listened to that because I was getting my questions together for the upcoming episode where I'm going to be interviewing you guys about It Chapter 2. I was bored at work.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I just thought that was really fun. You had Elizabeth on, correct?
Yeah.
And then who else was on? Tom?
Tom.
Yep.
Tom. And I don't know, it was just a really fun cast to listen to, and I think that's a good idea to go see or to watch a movie together and, you know, sit down and talk about it.
And that was one reason that I really enjoyed that podcast in particular, was because we did go as a group and we came back and it was all fresh in our minds and our thoughts and everything else. And we were able to react, like you had said earlier, Josh, react organically. In the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to do that with It Chapter 2 coming up here in, I think it's September.
I think it's September.
August. Yeah. I don't know.
Is when It Chapter 2 comes out. But, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to doing that, you know, with a movie like Us. And everybody was kind of excited about Us. But, like, doing those more often, covering movies that we're all excited about, you know, checking it out as a group, and then doing the cast immediately following that movie. I think that's one of the more fun things we've definitely covered on the podcast.
Definitely put that on the list of things to do from 50 on out, because that's one of the things on my list too.
Yeah,
is going and checking those out with everybody. And I feel like we should set up like a quarterly thing where we do that, and we can actually bring in other people. You know, if Ebeth wants to come along with us, or if Tom is able to find some time to come out with us, or even Dale or Tyler or anything like that. Just getting people on the cast and really ramping up our guest game, and then actually going and seeing movies as they are released.
Yeah, for sure. And Maddie will just be the
designated host.
The designated host for those. So, yeah, cool. Patrick?
Well, fourth on my list, but it's not, you know, by any means the least important on here. One of my favorites is, and don't tear up over this, is when we brought Maddie into the show.
Oh, I'm touched.
Because it really, I mean, guys, we hang around with each other making films and everything else. Bringing Maddie in really added a different element to the show, a different point of view, a new perspective. And she is outside of what we do. You don't participate in the films that we make and stuff like that, even though we may change that later on.
I will tell you that was on my list as well. The addition of Maddie, I thought was really cool. we needed. It was 4 for a long time. It was Tom was here for a while with us, and then it became the 3 of us, and it worked and it clicked. But like I felt like we always needed a 4th, and it was nice to reach out and we decided as kind of a group, like, we need we want a female host, and so we kind of threw it out there, and a couple people bid on that, and we said, well, we're gonna have auditions and everything, and then we kind of auditioned Maddie, and they're like, fuck the rest of us. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
I knew Maddie from doing Zombie Squad from back in a billion
Back in
years
the
ago.
day.
So we knew Maddie had that background anyway. All I wrote down was shit got dark with my Maddie note.
You know what? Our movies have kind of shifted a little bit since you've been here.
They have, very much so.
And and they are going to moving forward, because there's that one on my list that is going to be on everybody's list for a review, but I know we won't get away from some of the there's going to be some comedies coming up that we're going to have to review.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's movies definitely that we would not have probably checked out had Maddie not brought that darkness into our life. For me, Martyrs was one of those movies.
Exactly.
It was on my radar, but I was like, I can't find it, so so I didn't chase it anymore. And Martyrs was one of the movies that Maddie gave to check out, and I know Martyrs is on your list as well to check out. But yeah, just it was a cool addition to bring Maddie in here, because it brought a new perspective to the cast. It rounded out a very dick heavy cast. So yeah.
Oh shit! I wasn't supposed to bring my dick with me.
No, I leave that at home.
No. Even without your dick, you filled the hole really well.
Okay, moving on. No, I am really happy to be on here, and one of my favorite things about this cast is we all do have such a different perspective on horror, and I think it really does round everything out. And I've watched a bunch of movies that I would never think to watch, because I do tend to gravitate towards that. So as I said, happy to be here and happy to corrupt your lives and, just bring movies that, no human being should ever watch.
Yeah, for sure. Greg.
So one of the things that we've done a couple times was we did tributes to late great talents who had passed. One was George Romero. We did the the redux of Dawn of the Dead. We talked about that. And then when Bill Paxton passed away, we talked Frailty. And I actually love doing those because I feel like it gives us a little bit of a personal connection with these people who have given basically their lives for this industry. And I say this lightly because I don't want the previous part of it to happen, but I'd love to be able to do more of that.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from that because that could get really dark really quick.
We do living tributes to people. We don't have to wait until people are dead.
Yeah. Bill Paxton actually was, if I remember right, Bill Paxton was one of our most listened to podcasts when he passed away. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, it was one of the podcasts we did that was one of our biggest hits view wise. So yeah. It's a good episode.
So maybe that's something to look forward to in the future, is picking maybe different actors or different directors or something. Yeah. Like we could do a Rob Zombie love fest.
Well, we definitely have to do a Stephen King episode.
Yeah, for sure.
So
the guy is on fire right now.
With much stuff
Insane how much he's got out right now.
Yeah. So back to Maddie.
Another one that I really enjoyed was when we covered The Loved Ones. We all seem to like that movie. Did anyone here not like that one?
I dug The Loved Ones, yeah.
It was the Australian prom one, Greg.
That may have been when I was flying back from California.
No, that was Incident in a Ghostland.
Oh, why don't I remember that one?
You didn't wait, you were on the show, but you didn't watch it.
Maybe that's
why. Okay.
But I feel like the rest of us, this was one that we agreed on, but we still got a good discussion out of it. And I feel like this was one of the a little bit leaning towards more extreme. It was one of the first like more extreme movies that we covered after I came on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked that one. That was fun.
Cool. Patrick.
I pretty much covered all of my favorite stuff. I just know that because of, I talked about the show maturing and becoming more professional, etc. We've already came up with some really good ideas for upcoming episodes and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm really proud of where we've come from like 2 years ago and everything else, and I'd been on a few of the original FrightCasts as well. But
you did Emily with us. Yeah, you did Emily. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So as a collective group with you guys, I'm really proud of what we've done so far, and that we're taking this seriously. That it's not just let's get together and I mean that's what we're really doing. Is four of us really just want to talk. We just want to talk about movies, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I could care less really what our subscriptions are or anything like that. But the fact that we're doing pretty well with subscriptions and listens and everything else, I think that's pretty cool too. So I'm just really looking forward to see what we do this upcoming year.
Cool, yeah. The kind of the last thing on my list was one of my favorite things that we do that I anticipate every year is we cover our top 10. And episodes, if you go back, if you're new listening to this, if you want to go back and really see the transition, it's like December of 2016 is when we started the Midnight Frightcast over again. And the second episode we did, I believe it was Greg, Patrick, and myself. It might have just been Patrick and myself. We covered Krampus, I think. The movie, I don't remember the movie we covered, but we started doing our favorite top 10 of the year.
So it was a Christmas horror story, Josh.
A Christmas horror. Thank you, Greg. Yeah. So Greg was there. So if you go back and listen to episode 2, 24, and 47, that is our top 10 favorite films from 2016, 2017, and 2018. And really 2018 was the first year where we were like, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
As far as numbers and movies and like shit, those first couple top 10s really lined up as far as we agreed on what went where and what place, and all the movies in there were kind of the same movies. And then we got to 2018 and there was movies that, Greg on his list that I didn't have on mine and you didn't have, and the numbers were all over the place. So yeah, top 10 is one of my most anticipated podcasts of the year. I like doing those. So yeah, Greg, you got any more to kind of toss out there?
I'll kill my list here. I had 2 more things. So the 20 questions episode I thought was a lot of fun. Actually getting to reach out to our listeners and get suggestions on questions that they want answered, or just wanting to hear our opinions on certain topics regarding the horror genre. I thought that was a lot of fun, doing the round table and everything that we had done for that episode. And, again, just to coattail on what Patrick says, just being on this cast with anybody who's willing to talk about movies is probably the best part of being able to do this. It kills me that I can't come down there every week just because gas is stupid and weather is even stupider. But, I get to sit here and Skype in and deal with poltergeists and the technology, but I'm still sitting here and I'm talking movies with some of my best friends, and I can't think of anything better to ask for. So this cast has just been awesome, absolutely awesome. And I thought back to one of the first casts that I actually got to step in on, Josh. You had me come down and sit in with you and Tyler, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what movie we had talked about.
Years ago.
Lies. I just remembered it. It was Horns. We talked about Horns.
Oh, yeah, it was a great movie, yeah.
It was a fantastic movie, but I remember getting that first taste of talking behind the microphone, and here we are, however many years later, and it's just as addicting as it was that first time. So I can't ask for anything more than that. It's just sitting here talking movies with some of my best friends. It's the best way to go.
Yeah, cool. Maddie, you got something to wrap up?
Yeah, I got one more, and it's this was actually the first episode that I listened to before deciding to come on here, and it was when you guys covered As Above, So Below.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
And as I said, I listened to a couple of them before I came on this cast to see if this was something I wanted to do, if this was
before deciding to show up at somebody's cool basement.
To show up.
You should have listened to like so many before you're like, okay, that one wasn't that bad.
But yeah, that one, I like that movie a lot, but you guys brought up some really cool stuff that I didn't think about, and that was when I really decided, like, okay, I want to go forward with this, because like I love horror, obviously, but I feel like I don't get a lot of different perspectives of it because I'm the big horror watcher in our house and that's all I watch. But like my immediate friends and family, whenever I'm like, you want to watch this movie? They're like, fuck off, Maddie. So just to, sit here and talk about it in a more in-depth way is awesome instead of just being like, oh yeah, that was fucking great. Like this big circle jerk.
Yeah,
or
it's not just I liked it, I didn't like it. It's why.
Yeah.
We go into it, and when we do that, we agree, we disagree, and that's like you said, that's what makes it great. So
yeah, cool. So like I said, episode number 50, we covered a lot of really cool shit. Super proud of what we've accomplished in the last 50 episodes. We have some really cool shit coming up this year. Little more organized with the spreadsheet. Hopefully we can come up with some cool stuff to keep it kind of fresh. Hopefully our guest list picks up. We got a cast coming up here that I'm really excited about because I'm not even participating in it. I'm going to sit back and fucking watch it. But it's going to kind of go with our Women in Horror Month. So I'm super excited about this cast coming up that's going to be led by Maddie. But yeah, I'm really excited about stuff coming up. But to round out Women in Horror Month, we'll move on to our feature because we went a long time. So we're going to wrap up Women in Horror Month movie-wise with the Saska sisters, I think it was second feature film, American Mary. Do you have some deets on that, Patrick?
The deets are American Mary, 2013. Some have it listed as 2012. IMDb always seems to be a year ahead of Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not sure why. It can be seen. You can rent it on Amazon Prime, Google Play, and someone actually uploaded it to YouTube in its entirety, so you can watch it for free there. I don't know for how long, but it is there, running an hour 38. A medical student is growing increasingly broke and disenchanted with medical school and the established doctors she once idolized. The allure of easy money sends this desperate young woman through the messy world of underground surgeries, which ends up leaving more marks on her than her so-called freakish clients. IMDb rating 6.3, Metascore rating 46, Rotten Tomato critic score of 60%, and Rotten Tomato audience score of 52%.
Okay. So I admitted before the cast, before we started, that I didn't get to the last 30 minutes of American Mary. I saw this when it first came out. But again, if you say 2012, that was 7 years ago. So it's been a minute since I had seen this movie. My only kind of real take on it was I remember not really liking it the first time around, almost hating on it. But it's kind of a thing where like, I was hating on it because it was kind of cool to hate on the Saska sisters at that point. And I was just wanted to shit on American Mary. But the second time around, that first hour and change that I got through, I liked a little more, I think, than I liked the first time around. So I just admitted that I didn't catch the last 30 minutes of this movie. So I don't feel like I can give a great overall perspective on it. So I'm going to happily kind of roundtable everybody and because this is first time watches for every single person here.
Yep.
So I want to get opinions from everybody.
Well, I have a quick question. You had said that it was around a time that it was cool to hate on the Saska sisters.
It was, yeah.
Did they get a lot of crap for their first movie? It's kind of like if you bring it to 2018 or 19, it was cool to shit on Bird Box when Bird Box really wasn't that bad. I see what you're saying.
Everybody's like, oh my God, Saska sisters, American Mary was so awesome. So to kind of be the opposite person of that, I was like, oh, fuck those guys. This movie wasn't that good. It really was not bad.
Happy Women in Horror Month.
Yeah, I know, right? But again, that's what I'm saying is my view turned around on that because the Saska sisters, the first film they put out was, I believe, Dead Hooker in the Trunk, and then they did American Mary, and they did See No Evil 2, and they have the remake of Rabid coming out here soon. So like they're few and far between, but they're always on the radar. Everybody kind of always knows who they are. They're the only twin sisters making horror films, so they kind of stand out anyway. But yeah, let's get a kind of a first time perspective from everybody of what they thought of American Mary, and let's pick on Patrick.
Okay, from the start, it got me. because of the name was American Mary, and they start off the movie with Ave Maria.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool touch, and it made me hungry for turkey for some weird reason. It really did, because I thought it was chicken at first, and I'm saying, oh, maybe I want chicken for dinner or whatever. But then, she's suturing the turkey. And so I'm sort of going, okay, this is a very, very interesting opening, because I knew nothing about the movie. I didn't read a synopsis of it prior to it, so I didn't know where it was going to go from there. And they actually did really hook me in early. They got going into the action pretty quick. They didn't dwell in a whole lot of character development. We would see her character development from the beginning to end. We didn't need to see all this minutia building up to it. So I felt that they did a really good job of getting to the core of the movie. I believe it was within the first 10, 15 minutes that she's already doing nefarious work with her medical background and everything else. So that really pulled me into it. There were times where I kind of felt, okay, this is just weird for the sake of weird. But then I learned to embrace that, because that's the environment that she was working in, that she catered to the weird, to the freaks, So once I was able to just say, okay, this is her world now, then I was able to get past that. I would say the one thing that kind of bothered me about this movie was actually having the Soska sisters put themselves into the movie. As characters. That is something that always bugs me. It bugs me when Shyamalan does it, and other people when I'm said, because that just takes me on. I'm going, oh, okay.
Bugs me when you do it.
Bugs me when I do it.
Well, see, I didn't know that was them. So that didn't bother me, because I had no idea that that was those two girls.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see, and I knew because I had seen their Trainwreck TV show, the Elevator or whatever, that was called.
Gotcha,
and that was a horrible thing. So, So actually my standards were kind of lowered for this thing. Walking into it, my expectations were pretty low. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it more. But overall, I walked away from this movie going, hey, that's pretty good. I was impressed with the cinematography.
Yeah.
I thought it was done really well, knowing that it was done on a shoestring budget. The twins mortgaged their house just to pay for this. Remortgaged it, I guess. So that there was not a lot of money flowing into this. All the effects were practical effects. There was no visual effects in this movie. So I thought it was handled extremely well for what they had to work with. I thought the direction was good. The cinematography was good. Overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think American Mary is probably their biggest title, probably their most well-known title. And it's not even like that. I don't even feel like it's that known of a title. But
did it get a U.S. release at all? It got a limited theatrical release in the U.K.
It got a U.S. release.
It did. Okay,
yeah, it did. Yeah, Maddie.
I'm gonna start this argument.
All right, this is where we talk about that disagreement stuff, right?
No, this is where I don't think this was that much of a horror movie. Just
that argument.
Yes, gotcha. That argument that we've had in every single cast, and I can see where it had a lot of horror elements, but to me, there was a lot of stuff that just wasn't there that I would it wasn't scary. I feel like this had a really, really light tone to it. It was fun. It had more of a fun tone, which I like that in my horror movies, but
except for the rape scene, that really,
that was really,
it was kind of random, really.
Yeah, it was random.
I mean, it set up what had to happen, but
But also, ladies, that is how you do a rape revenge movie.
Yeah.
You don't go around shooting people; you cut off their limbs and other parts. That was fun. That's what I like. But
and it brought an important lesson in the movie as well. Don't accept drinks from strangers.
Right? That was the first thing I thought of. I was like, do not take drinks from people that you don't know. Don't
mix your own drinks, people.
Yeah, they did this in Hard Candy. Yep. They did this in there's a ton of movies, and I'm just how do people not know this anymore? I have never.
My favorite movie, Tusk.
Yeah, and especially don't accept a drink from a guy that describes himself as I'm a fucking motherfucker.
Yeah. To me, that is where I'd be like, oh. Okay. No, thank you. But don't accept goddamn drinks from other people. There was a couple parts, and I can't pinpoint it right now, that kind of took me out of it. You're right, it did kind of leap right into the action, and I know we said this wasn't that long of a movie, but you know me, if it goes past an hour 20, I'm like, wrap it up, Jesus Christ. But I don't know, there were just a couple parts that kind of just my interest just kind of lapsed. I walked off, did my laundry, I watched the whole thing, but there was just, I don't know, kind of struggled to sit down and watch the whole thing in one kind of go. That being said, I would rewatch this movie because I think this is a movie that I would enjoy more if I knew that's how it was going to be. So yeah, overall, I did really like it. But as I said, I didn't like it as a horror movie. I just liked it kind of as a movie. There's a couple parts, Mary, I don't know, she just kind of got a little cliche to me, like her character, where she just kept like asking people, do you think I'm crazy? It's like, yeah, bitch, and that's fine. Like, wear that flag.
Yeah, I got you.
But I don't know, that kind of took me out of it a little bit, where she just was like, am I crazy? Or when the like club owner was like had this like weird crush on her, that I don't know why that took me out of it. But like the thing that I did not like the ending of this movie. I don't know how you would have ended it, but like I don't know, I just didn't really care for the ending. It kind of just seemed like it was just kind of shit, just fucking end it. Like I don't know. I know you said you didn't watch the last.
Yeah, I kind of have an idea, if I remember right, how it ended, though.
Yeah.
And I would classify this as a horror movie just like I would classify American Psycho.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of similarities between the two.
But this was a lot more lighthearted, I feel like, than American Psycho.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This one had more fun.
I was going to say, like, I was not afraid of American Mary. Patrick Bateman is creepy. Yeah. I don't want to be around him. I'd hang out with Mary. Like, hit me up, girl. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I would not hang out with her. No, I would. That would scare the shit out of me, knowing what she's capable of.
You know who I loved, though, was the Betty Boop girl.
She was fun.
No. She annoyed the shit out of me. Oh my
god! When she called on the phone, I was like, I loved her voice.
Right. I'm sitting there thinking, oh my god, she just sounds like the woman from Little Shop of Horrors.
Ellen Green. Yeah,
right. But then when I did some research on it, she modeled the voice after Ellen Green. So that was on purpose. So she nailed it. She nailed it.
Yeah. I thought her voice is annoying, and I 100% agree with you. But I was like, oh my god, that was right. Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors is what I thought right away. But yeah, I thought the girl that played Betty Boop was the Betty Boop character was great.
She was fun. You're right. When she first kind of came onto the scene, I was like, wow.
I rolled, because I kind of rolled into it after a while. Because my first reaction was, how fucking annoying can this person be, or this character be? But then once you saw the Barbie character as well, you're going, okay, this is extreme modification, blah, 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 blah. I get it now.
Yeah. Greg, throw us some of your sense.
My sense?
Some of your change.
Like SENSE or CENTS?
Keep your sense over there.
Well, fine. I'll just sit here in silence then and make it awkward.
It is awkward.
I actually, it's very awkward. I really did actually enjoy this movie. Just like you said, Maddie, this is the way that a rape revenge film should be done. So take that revenge. Here's your template that you should go off of. One thing that I kind of pulled from this was a very fast-paced movie. And I don't say that in the sense that this is like an action film, but I felt like we moved from significant scene to significant scene really quickly, which was kind of nice because it didn't feel like there was a lot of fluff that went along into the movie. But it was also like, okay, we're now here, and okay, now we're now here, and then it kept going. It didn't give you like much of a chance to really settle yourself into the story. So definite pros and cons on that. The one thing that I felt like this movie had going for it the best was its disturbing characters. The Betty Boop wannabe was creepy as hell, and a little bit of me felt like I was listening to Sherry Moon Zombie a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if I got a bad taste in my mouth from thinking that, because I'm kind of over the whole Sherry Moon Zombie being an actress thing. But her character, the Barbie doll character, was terrifying. Even the Saska twins were creepy in their own right. Like, how are you that attached, both literally and figuratively, to another person? That's weird to me. So the construction of the creepy characters in this, I think, is what made this movie the horror movie that it was. Watching Mary's descent into the darkness was an interesting arc for her character. I think the best part of watching that descent was after she did the very first surgery. I don't know if you can call it a modification, but the the first guy that they brought down in the table, and it looked like he had a split down his face or something like that. She goes home and she immediately gets in the shower and just loses her shit. And I thought, oh, okay, it's about to go down. Something's going to happen here. It's going to get weird and wild. So I really loved the transition from her more naive, more fluffy character at the beginning, I guess you could call it. I don't know if that's the right word I want to use, but and then her descent into, we're just going to start hacking and slashing and switching people's arms and splitting okay, did she split the guy's dick? Is that what she did?
I don't know
the lizard guy?
I don't know what modification she did on that. I'm not really familiar with penis modification. I know, weird.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what she did to the penis guy.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. That's kind of what I felt like she did, but I know she said, you can't masturbate, no sex for a certain amount of time and things like that. And it's like, okay, whatever. So,
and then he looks at her ass right after that.
Exactly.
He did. It's like you said, and then she answers the phone. He's like, yeah. All right.
I'll say the same thing my boyfriend says every time I mention something weird. You can look that up on your own computer.
Nice. And then finally, I think somebody had mentioned the use of practical effects. I'm always a fan of practical effects. CG is run its course. Just I understand it's cheaper and it's a lot easier to do a lot more, but practical effects are something to be said about utilizing the actual fake material to make it look like what you're trying to do. And I fully appreciate what they did with this movie. So really, really enjoyed this movie, and I felt like they did a good job for what they were trying to do in the budget that they had.
Cool.
I do want to kind of just touch on real quick the actually sort of tasteful nudity in this movie, because I think I've said before how much I hate.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
that. Random nudity in movies, but to me, like when they showed nudity in this movie, it had a purpose. If you're shooting a scene in a strip club, I don't care if there is nudity in it because I expect it to be there and it serves a purpose, or there's medical shit in there and it serves a purpose. I just can't stand it for like when you just throw it in for the story and for like, hey guys, look at this.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't gratuitous.
Yeah, it wasn't gratuitous.
It wasn't unnecessary. It made sense.
Yeah.
Was there nudity in the strip club?
Yeah,
because I remember
in the
one
background.
You see the Betty Boop character. You see,
okay,
but it's like it's
because I didn't even really notice that.
Yeah,
but and I think, and maybe this is the same scene that you're referring to, is when she's doing the modification on Barbie. To me, it was like the reason it was shot so well is because it was really showing how much care she was giving this person, knowing the severity of the modification that this woman is going through.
Yeah,
and I thought that was, to me, that was done incredibly tastefully.
Yeah,
it was really well done without objectifying.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah, and that's where I have no problem with nudity in movies is if it's not like, as I said, it's not made to be a big deal. Like if it's something medical or just like it's there for a reason. Like they show it for a reason, not just like, hey guys, we forgot to write like 40% of this movie. Here's some tits. Some tits. So I think that was, and I don't know if it was because these are female directors that it was handled like that instead of like, hey, or if it was, I don't know what it was, but I have to say it was incredibly tastefully done. If you can ever call a horror movie tasteful, I thought that they did a really great job.
Within that same scene, I also liked that they showed the scar tissue underneath the breast and in the rib area to show that she had breast augmentation, that she did have ribs removed, etc. The little attention to detail in this movie I thought was really good as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else, guys?
One scene, she just totally went to town on that guard with that, what was a flashlight or whatever.
Yeah.
That was brutal to watch.
Well, I kind of got like a real Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs in there, where she just had she was just doing the damn thing, and like I kind of got like a flashback to Silence of the Lambs when Hannibal Lecter is going after that guard, where he's just kind of like, "Yep, I'm beating the shit out of you," and didn't really have much of an expression or emotion. He's just like, "Let's get this done." And I don't know if they were wanting to flash back to that, but I really got a lot of that from that scene.
Yeah. And one of the last things that I noticed, they used Ave Maria 3 times in this movie, It was once in the beginning, once in the middle, and once at the end. And each time the Ave Maria that they used, it became more sophisticated. And I like that because it overlaps how she became more sophisticated in what she was doing over time. And I think, that had to have been a conscious decision by the directors in order to use it that way.
Awesome.
There's some fun facts I've got. This was shot in 15 days.
Sweet.
Dang, really?
Yep. I had already mentioned that they remortgaged their house in order to finance it. In fact, their parents were in the movie as well. The main actress, Catherine Isabel, went to med school to research the role, and that's actually her suturing the turkey, and that Soska Sisters had written this with the lead actress in mind.
Cool.
That's my fun facts.
Cool. Anything else, Greg or Maddie or Patrick? Everything good?
Good.
Nothing, no.
Cool.
Really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
Let's go through our scores.
Yep.
Our ratings.
The gore score, the fear factor, and then the overall rating.
Again, I'm going to step out of this and just go to the three of you for the scores.
Let's go with the gore score first then. Not incredibly gory, but there was still quite a bit of blood. I'd probably give it about a 3, 4, somewhere around there.
Cool.
Yeah, I was going to give it maybe a 3, 2. And I think maybe because they did use a lot of practical effects, they didn't want to show as much because, the more practical effects you have in there, the more extensive it is. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
Cool. Greg?
I was going to give it a little higher, maybe like a 5, 4 or 5, only because what she was doing with the extreme body modifications, and you get to see some pretty horrific things happening to those. So I think the 4 or 5 is a good place for that to sit.
Cool.
Then there's the fear factor, and I'm probably going to give that. It's pretty low. It didn't scare me. It just made me feel uncomfortable at times, especially that rape scene and him. Yeah. Him waking up next, or not waking up next to her, but sleeping next to her till the end. It's like, what?
What dumbass does that?
How can you be so into yourself that you think it's okay to, oh my God. Anyway, it's still pretty low, probably about a 2.
Cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just give it a 1, and that's just for Rapey McRapeface.
Cool.
I'm going to give it a 2, only if we can continue to call him Rapey McRapeface.
Cool.
Deal.
And then overall scores.
Like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to put it up there as high as some of the other things that we've reviewed this year or even before. So I'm going to give it like a 6, between 6 and 7.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd say a 7.
Cool.
I would agree with 7. I think it's a solid score.
Awesome. So everybody's kind of right on par with the audience scores and everything.
And this is my introduction to the Soska Sisters. I've never seen anything that they've done up to this point, so I was impressed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's real quick wrap this long cast up with some really quick plugs. Let's start with Gregory the Movie Guy.
Gregory the Movie Guy. So my name is Greg the Movie Guy, and I'm the best movie reviewer you have never heard of. I write movie reviews with a positive spin over at gregthemovieguy.com. I am still working my way through the road to 200. I've got a brand new movie to post for you. That is Lego Movie 2, the second part, coming out probably later this evening because I forgot to post it today. But still plugging away. Got some new stuff in the works. I've been reaching out to some readers and seeing if I can get some ideas on how to increase my readership. So if you have any ideas, jump on over to gregthemovieguy.com, or you can find me under the same name on my Facebook page, Greg the Movie Guy's Movie Reviews.
Cool, Maddie. Nothing this year?
I got nothing.
This week? Not this year. You've had plenty this year. Nothing this week? Okay, cool. Nope.
All right, I'm just going to do our normal plug so that if you're a fan of the FrightCast, and we know that you are, help us out. Make sure that you head on over to iTunes or whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, and make sure that you rate and review us. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, and many, many more. You can also help us out with some of the minor bills. Head on over to patreon.com/MidnightFrightcast. Make sure that you check us out online. You can find us on Twitter at MFrightcast. You can follow us and join in the conversation in our Facebook group, Midnight Frightcast, and you can also find us on Instagram, Midnight Frightcast. So share, and share some more and post it on your walls and tell your friends. And finally, make sure that you check out our films at midnightfrightfilms.com.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Cool. So for Greg and for Maddie and for Patrick, I'm Josh. Thanks for hanging out with us for the last 50. We'll see you at 51.
Peace out, Boy Scout.